Hey there and welcome back. It is now the last week of February and I am very excited to be here with my friend Suzanne Brown. Suzanne started Upstate Homeschool Co-op, which is the largest co-op in the country as far as we know. They have around 500 children from kindergarten through 12th grade. And it's a fantastic group. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. We're also going to be talking about what is a co-op? Does your family need a co-op? How do we choose a co-op? What thought process goes into whether to join a co-op or not? So there's a lot coming up in this conversation today. But first, Suzanne, welcome, and I'm so glad you're here. Can you tell us just a little bit about who you are, how many you have homeschooled, where you are in your journey, and then we'll jump off from there.
Okay, would love to. Thanks for talking today. I have 7 children.
Okay.
6 of them that I've homeschooled, one that we added along the way, late in our journey of parenting. We've taken 4 of those through all the way, and I have my last 2 at home, a 7th and a 9th grader now. So this is 23 years for me.
Wow.
I was a teacher before. I have degrees in early childhood, elementary, and special ed. So my passion has always been children and working with children. And really, the last year that I was teaching, when I cried pretty much every day all the way to school, thinking I just want to be home with my babies. And didn't really know a lot about homeschooling at all at that point. It was early 90s.
Wow.
But wanted like-minded people that didn't just want to send their children on the same path. And started sort of talking to different friends, and we really just started by having a play group.
Okay.
Focused around music, almost like a kinder music takeoff, but just for fun, getting together once or twice a week. And the next year, that would have been in 96, so in 97, we sort of started something a little bit more official. We had 5 families, 19 children, and it really focused around science and history.
Okay.
And one of us was with the babies, and one of us had maybe the older elementary. They were all elementary and younger at that point. And then one had the younger group, and we just sort of team taught together.
Right.
And each parent took a part of the lesson, and we rotated through on the weeks.
Wow.
So by the end of that year, people were starting to say, hey, I want to be a part of that. Can I join in? I would love to, to get in on that. So over the summer, we went to the first church that we thought could house us.
Right.
And started there, we really started that first year through 5th grade, but only about maybe 50, 60 kids at that point.
That's a big group out of the starting blocks.
Right, it was a big group. So there were a lot of interest, and over the years, this is our 5th location, facility where we are now.
Just keep growing and expanding.
We just kept growing and kept outgrowing the spaces where we had, and the Lord has just blessed it. So we went from 19, and we're sitting at about 570 kids right now.
570?
Yes.
Wow. That's actually more than I thought there was.
Yeah.
So I was wrong. It's 570. All right. So just to make sure everyone knows exactly what we're talking about, what exactly is a co-op? When we kind of throw around those terms, we have a lot of new homeschoolers who will be watching this. What do you think of? What is the definition really of a co-op, or how would we define it?
Well, I think of it as a group of parents, in its really organic form, as a group of like-minded parents that have come together who want to use their gifts and their skills to make all of us better, and to do things that maybe I'm not gifted to do with my children.
Right.
So that's its sort of very
At
simplistic.
the very core, yes.
Yes, and that looks different depending on how your group sort of evolves and where you see the needs.
So I know that there are academic co-ops, which this one is very academic co-op. There are extracurricular co-ops, which we have been involved in as well, where they would focus on arts and PE and really just the more social things that you want to make sure you're plugging in. What are there other types of co-ops out there, or?
That's a good question. I think probably you've hit on what I would say are the two differences is really more of the academic group and then the enrichment or the fine arts kind of group.
Right.
And there are different groups that focus on those things. And we really just decided a long time ago we needed think we were trying to hit the need for things that parents couldn't get somewhere else.
Okay.
You can pick up an art class.
Yes.
You can pick up a music class. You can pick up a drama class,
Mm-hmm.
because even students in traditional school situations pick those things
Still,
up after
right,
school.
exactly.
But there were not, you couldn't really go and pick up a chemistry class.
So my next question would be, if I am a family who is just looking and praying about whether we should even be involved in a co-op or not, what are some of the things that I should really think about when I choose, first of all, if this is something I'm going to explore, but then secondly, what type of co-op I think will be the best fit for my family?
Another good question. I think it all goes back to know your child and know your own strengths, and and conversely your own weaknesses.
Right.
So if you have a child who's pretty compliant and takes instruction well and doesn't, buck you and push back, then there may be years that you don't need a co-op,
Mm-hmm.
or that you can sort of sail through. And I always want families to realize that we don't all have those kind of children. We have a couple of those that sort of push everything myself, and so
Yeah.
it's always the balance of at what point does that child need outside accountability?
Right.
What point do they need some outside forces sort of helping to shape and mold? All under, the parent's direction,
Exactly.
which is important. So know your child, as they go through different developmental stages, and know where I'm a liberal arts person. I'm
Right.
not a science or math.
Right.
And so I know, I love younger age sciences, but
Mhm.
once you get into some of those very specific things, I gotta have help.
Right.
And so, I wanted people my goal for that was, I want people who are passionate about those fields of
Right.
study, because that comes across in the way they teach.
It
And that's
does.
one of the things I look for when I'm hiring,
Mm-hmm.
is people who have those gifts. They may not be trained teachers, but they are passionate about what they
That
do.
subject.
Yes, and that's where I want my child to be,
Right.
under that kind of instruction.
Yeah, it's been amazing to me. I am not a science person either, and I had a lot of guilt about the number of experiments and stuff we did not do. But then my kids get into middle school, high school, and all of a sudden, I'm hearing about physical science and chemistry with excitement every time. And I would not have instilled that in
Right.
them. That would have been the thing that we pushed to the back burner. We would get it in because we had to, but they would know that we were just getting it in because we
Right.
had to.
Right.
So it is a great service to our family to have those people in place who can shepherd our kids, because they may love that stuff. And just because I don't doesn't mean
Right.
that they won't.
That's
So that has been just a great blessing.
Yes, good. That's good to hear. That's encouraging. That's what we want it to be. And that outside accountability, the other thing is helping students realize that there are different types of teachers. There are going to be different types of employers, different types of relationships all through their life. So this is, even when you're home educating, this is a good way for them to learn how to sit under somebody,
Right.
and learn how to adjust and react,
Right.
and respond to different styles. of
Well,
teaching.
I've also found that it's good to have other people in the class with you, because those interpersonal interactions and the irritations of people who aren't going in the same direction as
Right.
you are. Exactly. That is one thing that, for a brother or sister to be an irritant is one set of, you deal with it one way. But to be in a situation where you are in a group project with someone and they're not pulling their weight, well, that's,
Great learning experience.
you're gonna have that forever. So
Yes, you are.
it's a great way to learn that you do what is right, and you do more than what is right if you need to make sure that your team is successful.
Right. Sure.
And so that's another way I think that co-ops really really fill out what we're able to do as home educators, and we're able to really help them pursue things that they are going to love that they may not have actually been exposed to.
That's correct. That's true. And deadlines are another thing.
Yes.
That's unfortunately or fortunately, the world revolves around deadlines.
Right.
And as kids get older and they move into that young adulthood, and it's hard to, if you're a family, maybe it's a writing project, or maybe it's the test, and you're out late, you're with wherever you've been the night before, and you sort of tend to say, well, let them sleep late,
Right.
or let's put that off for another day. And the world doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
And so some of that is teaching that responsibility, that you're responsible to this deadline. and without some of those outside forces and a grade, that
Yes.
somebody else giving that grade.
Right.
And those are good things. Those are okay.
Well, and I think too, the knowing that you're going to disappoint someone else. I don't even know if disappoint is the right word. Let down, not meet the expectation of.
Expectations.
That has been powerful.
Yes. We all work that way.
Right. Because, like you said, it's very easy to get within your family, get very, very busy, very entrenched in doing good things, and you can let stuff slide. Yes. And I would say there were a lot of people out there cheering, "Oh, I can't believe she said that. I thought I was the only one." But this has been one of the best things about a co-op for me is it really does enforce the idea of deadlines, and that actually plays back over into our family because they're thinking more along those lines. So the deadlines within our home are a little bit more firm because it kind of sets the stage for all of those. So are there any other thoughts that you would have as people were looking at or evaluating co-ops? Anything kind of as a final word you'd like to share? Exhortation to them,
Well,
encouragement?
I think it's important to use it to your benefit. You know, don't feel like you have to take every subject.
Right.
But also don't load your kids up. You know, I know sometimes in our elementary program, in our particular one, once they get to third grade, you know, their science is added in. That's
Yes.
always a great example. Well, it's enough science, so don't kill your child by adding
With
in
a lot
more
more,
science.
exactly.
Use it to your benefit. Let that substitute. If you have a child who needs to be challenged, maybe it's not enough work, build off of what's already there.
Right.
Don't just do a whole nother curriculum. You know, we don't want to burn them out.
Right.
Using it to your advantage. Don't let it own you.
Right. And let this build their love of learning and not a dread of,
Yes, so much work.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And we take a really important, one thing that's important to us is helping equip parents. And so we try to do a lot of training sessions.
Right.
We don't want to take the role of a parent. We want to equip and train them and encourage them. So we do a lot of these monthly, little mini training sessions.
Exactly.
And so I think that's important too, is always looking, as you move through stages in your homeschooling, you realize I'm not as equipped here as I thought I might be, or so use those opportunities to grow and learn.
Well, and actually, Suzanne and Sandy, who is the high school administrator here at our co-op, do Navigating the High School Maze every year. And it's that kind of a resource that prompted us to build out the Homeschool Guidance Counselor, because we realized that we're so fortunate to have people that we can talk to and learn from, but not everybody has that. So we've really gleaned a lot from the resources that they make available and are trying to make it available to a little bit more broadly to people who don't have a Suzanne or a Sandy handy to ask all of their questions. So Suzanne, thank you so much for joining us today. I think this has been incredibly helpful, and I hope that as you all make your decision prayerfully, that the Lord will guide you to either the perfect co-op, or as you're setting up your own homeschool, your own groups within your home, that this will give you some ideas and some insight. Teach Them Diligently is here to support your family's homeschool and discipleship efforts year-round. Make sure you subscribe to our channel today so you don't miss a thing.